You wake up one morning and every drop of water on Earth is gone. No oceans, no rivers, no rain, no clouds, just empty basins and dry air. The first science-based affirmation is simple. I can stay calm long enough to think. Panic wastes energy, and energy becomes precious fast. In a waterless world, survival becomes a math problem with a time limit. Within minutes, people would notice faucets blow air and toilets stop working. Plants would begin to droop almost immediately because they can't move water inside their cells. Animals would panic too because thirst drives behavior quickly. Our second affirmation, I focus on the next safe step, not the whole nightmare. The first global reaction would be disbelief, then fear, then a rush for answers. Scientists would confirm the oceans are empty, leaving giant dry trenches and salt flats. Ships would sit stuck on the seafloor, tilted and silent. Coastal cities would smell strange as wet air disappears and salty dust rises. The climate would change instantly because oceans store heat and move it around the planet. Without that buffer, temperature swings would get harsher day and night. Our third affirmation, understanding the system helps reduce fear. Weather as we know it would collapse because no evaporation means no rain cycle. Clouds would vanish and the sky would look unusually clear and brutal. Many people would feel dizzy because dust and heat would rise. Governments would declare global emergencies within hours. The biggest immediate danger is that living bodies are mostly water. Humans can only survive a few days without drinking, sometimes less in heat. Hospitals would be overwhelmed by dehydration symptoms quickly. Water-based medicines and cleaning would become impossible overnight. Our fourth affirmation, in crises, priorities become simple and life-focused. The first priority would be finding any remaining sources of water, if any exist at all. But in this scenario, even groundwater and ice are gone. That means no wells, no glaciers, no snow, and no humidity to collect. It's not a shortage, it's a total removal of a basic ingredient of life. The second priority becomes, can we create water artificially fast enough? Chemically, water is H2O, made of hydrogen and oxygen. In theory, you can make water by burning hydrogen in oxygen, but hydrogen is hard to store safely, and producing it needs energy. Oxygen is still in the air, but separating it also needs machines and power. Our fifth affirmation, science gives options, but physics sets limits. Power grids would strain as everyone tries to run pumps, labs, and emergency equipment. But pumps would be useless because there's nothing to pump. Food would become a major crisis immediately because farming needs water. Crops would fail within days, and livestock would die quickly without drinking. People would begin rationing food and searching for any sealed liquids. Drinks in bottles would become priceless in hours, but those supplies are tiny compared to the needs of billions of people. Conflict would rise as desperation spreads, especially in dense cities. Our sixth affirmation, cooperation saves more lives than competition. Governments would likely enforce martial law-style controls to prevent chaos. Some communities would organize calm distribution centers with strict fairness. Others would break down into panic and hoarding. The most valuable places would be facilities that can synthesize water, like chemical plants. But even those plants would need raw materials and electricity. Time would be the enemy because dehydration moves fast. Bodies would weaken, headaches, confusion, fast heart rate, then organ failure. Children, older adults, and sick people would be at highest risk first. Our seventh affirmation, compassion is practical because it directs help to the vulnerable. People would try dangerous ideas, like drinking alcohol or seawater, except seawater is gone too. Even if water returns later, mass dehydration damage would already be widespread. In days, Hospitals would run out of IV fluids because those are water-based. Firefighting would become impossible without water, so fires would spread more easily. Cities would become hotter because trees and grass can't cool the air. The air would fill with dust because there's no moisture to hold it down. Our eighth affirmation: in extreme conditions, shelter and dust control matter. Long-term, most plants would die because photosynthesis also depends on water. Without plants, oxygen would slowly decrease over time, and food webs would collapse. Insects, birds, and mammals would crash in population. Humans would only survive if we moved into sealed, controlled environments. Our ninth affirmation: humans can adapt, but only with systems and planning. Underground shelters and sealed domes would become the new cities. Inside, water would have to be created and recycled with near-perfect efficiency. Every breath would need humidity control because exhaled water vapor would be precious. People would collect water from their own bodies through condensation systems. Survival would look like a spaceship mission, but on Earth. Technology already exists to recycle water on space stations, but scaling that to billions is far beyond current capacity. So the real future population would likely shrink dramatically. Our 10th affirmation: I can face hard truths without giving up. Governments would fight to protect key engineers, power plants, and production sites. Wars could start over energy because energy becomes water-making power. Money would lose meaning compared to water and electricity. Laws and ethics would be tested like never before. People would ask who gets saved and why. Our 11th affirmation: fairness matters most when resources are scarce. The planet itself would change. Oceans shape Earth's crust and climate balance. Dry ocean basins would alter wind patterns and create massive dust storms. Without water, many rocks could crumble differently, and landscapes would shift. The lack of ocean pressure could affect earthquakes in complex ways. Our 12th affirmation: nature does not negotiate, so we must respect reality. If humans could make enough water, we could slowly rebuild ecosystems in domes. Tiny greenhouses would become priceless because plants would mean food and oxygen. Education would shift towards survival science, chemistry, energy, and systems engineering. Religion and philosophy would also surge because people seek meaning in disaster. Communities that stay united would outlast communities that turn on each other. If water disappeared instantly, the most likely outcome is a rapid global collapse. But the story doesn't have to end with total darkness. Some humans would survive by using science, cooperation, and strict recycling. The survivors would build a new culture around conservation and humility. Our 13th affirmation: what we protect becomes what we become. If water ever returned, the lesson would be permanent. We are not separate from nature. We would treat water as sacred, not as something unlimited. We would design cities to waste almost nothing, and we would remember that life depends on invisible systems we rarely notice. Final affirmation: I choose calm thinking, cooperative action, and respect for the planet that keeps me alive.